everybody, Dr. Alexis with Nutrition, Health, and Wellness. And today I want to talk to you about digestive issues. And I'm actually just going to share my personal story with my digestive issues. I'm using the word digestive issues very intentionally because all my life up until I started doing the work that we do with our clients, I've always been diagnosed with something like a gastritis or an IBS or an IBD, irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disease. But I always struggled with symptoms ever since, elementary school. I always remember feeling nauseated just about any time I ate. That was a big one. Let's see, what else? Once I got into teens and my early 20s, it started turning into episodes of intense abdominal pain, not even cramping. It'd be shooting pain. I remember a couple of times going to a doctor, gastros, lots of gastros, lots of specialists, and specifically saying it sounded or felt like I swallowed just a handful of needles, and the needles were just poking me in my stomach because they're needles and I swallowed them. Just very, very uncomfortable. Definitely had a couple of ER visits, and that led to just being given lots of morphine for the pain, and lots of diagnostic testing. So CAT scans, I've had CAT scans, I've had MRIs, I've had x-rays, I've had ultrasounds, another abdominal ultrasound, the one where you drink the stuff, the radioactive stuff. I don't think that's a barium swallow, but maybe it is. But you drink the stuff and then you walk around and then they do imaging to watch it course through your body to see if there's any choke points along your intestinal system, or they might also be looking for patterns of inflammation or something like that. Long story short, I had all the tests and they always came back with no significant findings. And so I went years, elementary school all the way up until my 30s, with just these symptoms. Now, when we work with our clients, we do talk about food being a symptom and not necessarily the solution, but it can help calm down symptoms until, a better solution is found. So I did have some time in my 20s where not eating so much junk and eating a little bit more fresher, less processed foods did help resolve my symptoms or reduce them. It helped to reduce them, but it never helped them go away completely. Fast forward to 3 years ago, so about 2019, 2020, closer to 2019 actually, when I started doing my functional medicine training, which eventually evolved into what is now Nutrition, Health, and Wellness. When I started that training is when I got introduced to the brain-gut axis, the connection, the specific connections between our brain and our digestive system, which, on the back end or today, it's kind of I had to have somebody tell me that, but you don't know what you don't know, especially when there's so much around just symptom management in terms of just things to do to feel better, but not necessarily address the issues. So one of the main components of that brain to gut connection involves your vagus nerve, which is one of our major nerves that stems off directly from our brain, but it also directly connects to our abdominal cavity, and it has a direct influence over our digestive system. It's actually in a very common example. It's the reason that we get butterflies in our stomach when we get nervous. So when we have a mental emotional response, we feel a reaction in our gut area. Yeah. So when I kind of started learning about that and the vagus nerve specifically, and that the vagus nerve physically has a connection to that area, it basically stems off the kind of back area of your brain, long story short, comes down behind each ear. It has 2 separate branches, comes down the front of your neck, goes down the front of your chin, and then it kind of, oh, sorry. I was looking at the screen when I did that. It comes down and actually exits to the left. So this is my left. It exits out into your abdominal cavity from behind like your chest bone, just on the left side, just under the left rib cage. And then it starts to branch out into smaller nerves that help your digestive system function. So why is this pertinent, and like how does this fit into my story? At its worst, you know, or I guess maybe like towards the end of managing all these abdominal symptoms, like I said, I was eating cleaner, so that was reducing symptoms. And then I was, oh shoot. Oh, sorry. I was eating cleaner and that was reducing symptoms, but not quite getting rid of them. And I had gotten to the point where I found a nurse practitioner who knew I had a doctorate in physical therapy and trusted me enough. So she kept kind of like an open prescription of oxycodone and Zofran. So a pain management medication, and Zofran is to reduce like nausea, if you don't know what Zofran is, which were my top 2 symptoms for my abdominal issues: really bad cramping or really bad abdominal pains, and nausea and vomiting. So I was on an open prescription of Oxy and Zofran. I didn't go anywhere without it. I always had it with me at all times. And I was eating a little bit better, and that was reducing the symptoms, but not getting rid of them completely. I had gone a long time without a symptom. And I remember one day I had had an argument with a close friend, and, you know, I was upset about it, and I was laying in bed. And for the first time in a very long time, I started feeling those intense pains starting to stir up again. And it was interesting because I actually started kind of panicking a little bit because so much time had passed that I actually let the Zofran and the oxycodone lapse. So I didn't have any with me. You know, and I was just thinking if I can just get through the night, I'll go to like an urgent care, you know, the next day and try to get some then. And the pain was building and building. And with that, I was getting more and more nervous because I didn't have anything. And I was thinking to myself, do I at least have some ibuprofen or some Tylenol? You know, do I have ice? Like, I'm going through my head all the things that I could possibly have to get myself through the night. And then it just kind of all stopped. My thoughts and my fears and anxieties just kind of all stopped. And I said, wait, what about that brain-gut connection thing? And so I literally just like massaged my belly. Right here, right at the exit point of the vagus nerve. I literally just massaged for maybe like 2 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but not very much longer. And from that massage, the pain went away completely, like completely. And I fell back asleep. And I woke up the next day feeling very mixed feelings. One, I was very excited that I wasn't hurting anymore. And 2, it kind of all clicked that if that was a major factor, which was basically telling me that all through my life, a lot of those symptoms might have just been stress related and an overactivity of my vagus nerve, and I was just feeling it in my abdominal area. If that's basically all that was going on, like how did I go like so many years with nobody mentioning it? And that kind of bothered me, to be completely honest. I kind of got upset about that because all the morphine, all the ER visits, all the pain, all the frustration, all the everything looks fine, there's nothing wrong with you. Like year after year after year of that happening, you know, you can imagine because you're probably watching this because you might have had a similar story or have similar symptoms. Like you know how that feels, to that frustration and the feeling that, you know, nobody's believing that your symptoms, things like that. And so it was a really big moment of reflection, of excitement that it helped, a little bit of frustration that nobody had mentioned it or introduced that concept to me over 20 plus years. And then excitement again, because now I have this extra information and I have a personal experience to like match with it to help other people. And so what's interesting is that at Renitrition, and when we're working with our clients with digestive symptoms and unresolved digestive issues, are kind of near and dear to my heart. They're almost like my favorites. I try not to have favorites, but they're kind of like my favorite clients to work with because I've been there and I kind of know what that feels like. So that opens the door, or that experience and that knowledge of understanding that brain to belly connection has really opened the door in terms of one, how I keep myself healthy, and two, how we're able to work with our clients and get the relief that they've probably looked for or sought after just as long as I have, if not longer. So that's my belly story. It's very near and dear to my heart. It keeps me moving forward to continue to learn more, meet more people, talk to more people so that our work can help more people. My staff and I, it's like we all have stories actually, but all of our stories and all of our clients are very near and dear to our hearts because a lot of us have been in a similar boat. And we love the work that we're able to do to help people achieve the symptom relief and the ability to move on with their lives when they sometimes thought it wasn't possible. So with us, one of our clinic mottos is, don't underestimate the possibilities. We're really big on the word possibilities because more and more every day we are learning that feeling better, living better without too much, unnatural things is definitely possible.